I think we're going to have to make progress in the United States on multiple fronts at once. We're clearly making headway already on renewable energy, and that will have to continue, both solar and wind. We're seeing a real uptick in electric vehicles, and I think shifting the transport sector is critical because it's the largest sector for emissions in the United States now, in fact, greater than electricity. So taking action on electric vehicles, really bolstering our public transport systems, which have come under quite a bit of pressure because of the COVID crisis and the economic fallout, is going to be essential as well. And then you have some of these hard to abate sectors, as they call them. Heavy industry, steel and cement, are ones where we're really going to need innovation. With renewable energy, we know what to do. It's a matter of doing it at scale. With steel and cement, there are some technologies on the way, but we really do need to see that kind of innovation. So it's a bit of a different kind of challenge. And then also agriculture and food systems are going to be a very important part of what needs to be done. And those are also somewhat more difficult at times. We have to reduce methane emissions from cattle, for example, which I know is a challenge in other countries as well.
There's a huge task ahead, and in order for Biden to deliver, we're going to have to see unprecedented collaboration, aren't we, across the various departments and agencies. This is stuff that's never been done in the US before, and we're going to have to start seeing results fast. So how is all of that on a logistical level going to work?
Well, there's no question that this has to be an all-in kind of approach. It has to be across all sectors, all departments of the government, and it's got to be top to bottom across the country. It has to involve states and cities. It has to involve businesses across the board. So we do need all hands on deck to make this work. I think one of the things that makes that possible, that allows us to imagine we can get there, is that we've seen so much more evidence that taking action on climate change actually brings enormous economic benefits, can be a job generator, and can really bring the kind of prosperous future that people want. And we're seeing polling that shows Americans understand this. They know that taking action to boost renewable energy also will boost the economy and boost jobs. They know that changing electrifying our transport fleet can also be a big economic generator. For the United States, the question is, are we going to fall behind where the future wave of the economy is going globally, or are we going to catch on to it and move forward?
And I guess with the Democrats taking control of both houses of Congress, there's real hope that we're going to see real change and see it quickly. Or I should say, is Joe Biden and the new team that he's bringing in, would you say that they're doing everything right? Because at least on the surface, it all looks very positive. Or are there any areas of doubt here?
Well, I think there's no question that the incoming Biden administration has the strongest climate policy plan of any U.S. administration in history. I think the challenges are going to be both political. There are certainly still some naysayers out there. I think the polling shows that the public is on board. The question is whether all of the politicians are there yet. And so it's going to take a concerted effort by the administration to really keep this ball moving forward, to keep public attention on the issue. We certainly have, as President-elect Biden has said, we have 4 crises happening simultaneously, including climate. We need to tackle these other issues. We need to work on vaccines for COVID. We need to work on the racial equality issues that clearly came to the fore last year. Those can't be set aside, and at the same time, we need to manage, and I think this is a key task for the administration, to keep attention on the climate crisis, on the impacts that we're facing. And I think the public has seen that more and more recently with hurricanes, with fires, with drought. and also the public has seen the economic benefits and the jobs benefits of action. And so keeping attention on all of that will be a core task, a core challenge for the administration.
And I guess with 2020 being a bit of a lost year on policy, on climate policy globally, there is a great sense of urgency that the world has taken on right now. But of course, it's one thing for the US to rejoin the Paris Agreement and to make big commitments. But it's another thing for the country to show that it's reasserting itself once again as a leader on climate action. How soon before we get there is the US going to achieve that goal?
Well, this past year, I think halfway through the year, one would have thought it was a lost year. What we saw at the end of the year was a wave of countries coming forward to say that they're going to reach net zero emissions by 2050. We saw the European Union and the UK taking strong action for their 2030 targets as well. So we actually saw quite a bit of momentum toward the end of the year. That's the context that the United States, that the Biden administration is now rejoining the global arena in. And what the administration needs to do is to really show to the world that it's serious about tackling climate change. President-elect Biden has made that very clear. Now the question is showing the world how so, and that needs to take the form of a strong, ambitious national target for 2030. And it needs to also take the form of cooperation with other countries in a clear way. That includes climate finance, putting forward finance that enables developing countries, poorer developing countries especially, to adopt renewable energy, to protect their forests, and to build resilience to the severe climate impacts that they're facing. And with all of that, if the United States takes action in those ways, if the Biden administration does so, I think that the world certainly will be very welcoming. And the Paris Agreement has always been about joining hands and jumping together, essentially. And I think the world is ready for the United States to join hands again and take that lead.
Well, David, thanks so much for speaking to Radio France International.
Thank you.